The centerpiece was a gold sarcophagus with the symbol of the Macedonian king.
He was surrounded by incredible riches, the riches of a king. They showed he was a man of exquisite taste. These are really the most beautiful objects of their kind we have ever discovered.
These were rich trappings, but perhaps what you'd expect from a great dynasty. Lots of gold. But what light did it shed upon the secrets of Alexander's success? Well, then, amid the dust and debris on the tomb floor, the archaeologists picked up something which at first sight looked rather inconspicuous.
It was a delicately crafted ivory carving. As they dug deeper, they found more. They were tiny fragments, most less than an inch long. Pieced together, they formed a hunting scene. But as they examined them more closely, one of the faces stood out. This was the face that would appear on busts and paintings for hundreds of years throughout the Mediterranean.
Now suddenly a face emerged of someone we recognized. It was the face of a real person. We had discovered the image of the man who was at the center of ultimate power.
They were looking at the face of Alexander the Great. And this was the earliest image of him ever discovered. It was also the first lifelike representation of a king. Up until now, kings had been portrayed by characterless depictions, created to a formula. But this marked the moment of another artistic revolution, the birth of the political portrait.
As a portrait, it really captures his political power and strength. It marks the very moment a new artistic idea was born.
But the most significant aspect of this little ivory head was when it was made. It was placed in this tomb. That means that it was made before Philip died and before Alexander became king. In other words, archaeologists realized for the first time that Alexander's image had been designed for him before he fought a single battle against the Persians. Between them, Philip and Alexander had already come up with a winning image, an image to take on the world.
But how exactly would Alexander exploit the power of this image and portray himself as a leader strong enough to unite an empire? The answer to that was found buried under tons of lava at the foot of a volcano. The volcano that buried the Roman town of Pompeii, Mount Vesuvius. The Romans loved Greek art, and in one of the villas in Pompeii was a mosaic, the copy of an original Macedonian painting from Alexander's time. It's now in the Archaeological Museum of Naples. The mosaic depicts a famous battle in which Alexander finally defeated the Persian armies.
This is Alexander, charging full tilt into the thick of the battle. His eyes are fixed on his mortal enemy, the Persian king.
Alexander is shown in the heat of action, leading his troops, spear in hand. He wears no helmet, his hair flying back, a fearless hero leading from the front. And the impact of this image is even greater when you look across to the other side of the mosaic.
Look at the face of the great Persian king. It's a study of panic and fear. He can't get away quick enough. And so the whole of this political poster offers us a clear choice. Do you go for the braveheart or the coward? The hero or the villain? It's a collision of values in which Alexander is predestined for victory.
Alexander had discovered he could use his portrait to persuade his new subjects that he was invincible. It was an image to inspire admiration and respect. Here was a man who could unite the empire and was worthy of replacing the King of Persia himself. While Darius had discovered the power of the logo, Alexander had gone one better and replaced this image with that of the face. No king before him had exploited a charismatic portrait of his face in that way. Today, the power of the human face may seem obvious.
How can it be such a powerful tool in the hands of politicians? For the answer, we have to turn to modern science.
We asked a psychologist to design an experiment to test which is the more effective image, the logo or the face. What he came up with was an election. He began by inventing two different political candidates. One was publicised using my face. The other, fictional candidate, was publicised using a logo. Both had identical manifestos. Their message, arts for all. The question now was, would the face or the logo have more appeal? Promoters of these two images then descended on the students of Imperial College London.
He does all on his forum. That we have someone who will make art accessible to everyone, and that's what Nigel's all about, making art for everyone.
At the end of the campaign, the vote was held. Identical candidates, identical manifestos. Distinguished only by their two very different images. Which would win, the face or the logo? Well, of the 100 voters, 40 opted for the logo, but 60 went for the face. The experiment confirms what Alexander had instinctively understood. Humans have evolved to be influenced